Tonight, smartphones. Are you finding it impossible to put yours down?
It's in bed, it's in the toilet, it's everywhere.
The dangers of being unable to switch off.
Screen time is a form of consumption. Enjoy it up to a certain point. You exceed that point and you're putting yourself at risk.
And we discover what happens when technology is off limits for the week.
If that camera had been there, I would have definitely broken it.
For many of us now, smartphones, tablets and laptops dominate our lives. From the minute we get up, through our commute, during work, at home with the family, and even just before we go to sleep. On a typical day, most of us are never very far away from the temptations of technology. It's become a universal language which now unites us all. In fact, 48% of smartphone users in our country now describe themselves as hooked on their handsets. And the average person checks their phone 85 times a day. We're also raising children who, by the time they reach 7 years of age, will have spent almost one whole year of their life staring at a screen. So are we in the grip of a technology addiction problem here in the UK? And what sort of impact might it be having on our relationships, our stress levels, our health and our happiness? Meet the Forrest family from Preston. Mum Justine says she checks her phone once every 10 minutes. Dad Chris spends family dinners on his laptop. 18-year-old daughter Alex can't get out of bed until she's checked each of her social media accounts. 19-year-old Millie messages her mum from her bedroom to check what time dinner will be ready. And 14-year-old Christopher spends hours each day playing online games.
Is anybody watching this?
What is it?
It's clear this is a family that loves their technology. But they're not alone. With the average amount of time we spend online having doubled in the last 10 years, we're now collectively staring at our screens more than ever.
Screen dependency is not a formal term, but it's a good description of what we're finding with a lot of people of all ages, which is that they find it very hard to put their smartphones, their tablets, their computers down, turn them off and walk away. There are some academics and medical people who feel it is a formal addiction like substance addictions, others who aren't so sure, but there is a growing acceptance that we have a health and development problem of spending too much time on screens and finding it very hard to stop.
But just how long do the Forrest family spend with their screens each day?
We'll go 7 hours.
Weekdays, 5-6 hours, like after school. Weekends, 12. So I would push that maybe. I don't know.
OK, what about you, Justine?
So I don't know, on and off all day and all night. It's in bed, it's in the toilet, it's everywhere.
How does it affect family relationships in this house?
You know, normal people like sit at a table and eat and talk. Well, we just eat and watch stuff on all our different
we talk
screens.
to each other through our phones.
Yeah.
What, not at the table, seriously?
Yeah, but doesn't everybody do that?
Not sometimes.
Sometimes when
we do
someone's
that.
downstairs or upstairs, just
Yeah.
Skype each other. It's easier than just going
Like
upstairs
fit.
and calling them, innit?
Like a lazy family then.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Forrests are laughing now, but how about when they're faced with our tonight test?
So I'm here to put a little challenge in front of this family, and that is to live without your technology for a week.
Cool.
And what's your reaction to that idea?
I feel a bit sick, really. Seriously, though, you know, she's like high flying, isn't it? I do feel a bit sick.
I think it'd be good for everybody. Bring it on.
I'm just looking forward to know the family better.
Oh!
What he said, yeah.
The challenge is to put any electronic device which features a screen into this bin. That means all phones, tablets and laptops, Even the lead which connects the family TV is going in, so there's no television all week. The room the bin is being placed in has been rigged with CCTV and will also be adding some tamper-proof tape, so if anyone cracks and reclaims their prized possessions, we'll soon find out.
On goes the lid, and that means there is no tech this week. What are your feelings now that everything is in this bin?
Scared. I actually don't know what I'm going to do. That's my whole life in there.
OK, I'll be back to see how you got on in 7 days. Good luck.
Thanks.
The family may be unsure about ditching their favourite gadgets, but experts say we should be aware of the potential cost to both our physical and psychological health from too much technology in our lives.
Technology is really exciting, but we have to remember that it comes with inherent health risks. One of the big concerns around screen technology is to do with the kind of light it emits. It's a high content of blue light, which we think suppresses the hormone melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. A lot of people will use their phones and screens at night time, and it's affecting their sleep. Also, being hunched over a screen all day does have an impact on your posture, and that will secondarily potentially have an impact on the joints and bones of your neck and your back. In addition, screens can have a major effect on your eyes and your eyesight. There are some reports that a condition called macular degeneration may result from the overuse of these screens, and that's where an area at the back of the eye on the retina called the macula actually is damaged because of it, and that could affect your eyesight.
Aside from the potential physical risks from too much technology, there's also the psychological pull of those ever-present devices. Over 50% of us admit to feeling anxious at the idea of being without a phone. It's known as nomophobia, short for no mobile phobia. And within hours, our phone-free family have been caught on CCTV circling our Tonight Tech bin.
Me and Christopher have been in a couple of times looking at the bin and stroking it and wanting to break that security tape. We've been trying to plot, maybe drilling up the floorboards and going from underneath to the bin. But yeah, it's been hard.
The Forest's reaction to their crash detox is no surprise to psychologist Dr. Arik Sigman.
Research looking at what happens when people have to give up their devices find that people become physically fidgety. There's a withdrawal and a craving, a need to get your hands on the devices and reconnect again.
And as the Forest try hard to fill the void caused by switching off, it seems being disconnected is causing a bad case of FOMO, social media shorthand for fear of missing out.
Usually I wake up and spend like half an hour looking at all the different social media stuff before I get out of bed. There could be a new craze coming in, a new dance move, and I don't know what it is because I can't see it or anything.
I feel so disconnected and lost without it. I mean, I can't keep up with anything my friends are doing. No one can get in contact with me. I don't know what's going on in the world. I'm actually thinking about buying a magazine or a newspaper, and I've never done that for years.
Our society has become so socially dependent on connecting with people electronically that when the screens are turned off, people are reporting they feel terribly isolated. It's not just a question of keeping up with other people using the screens, it's actually depending upon those screens to feel wanted and to feel connected.
In a country where children now have an average 6 hours of screen time each day, with most of that spent online, 14-year-old Christopher is finding being disconnected from his daily gaming sessions particularly hard.
Last night I got a bit mad because I really wanted to play on it. I got a bit, cranky and stuff. So yeah, it's not going that well.
Christopher's rapid withdrawal from spending 12 hours a day online might be hurting, but even he thinks his habit could be an issue for his progress at school.
It does sometimes impact on my schoolwork. Like, I don't want to do my homework because I'm playing with my mates. I want to finish this game. So sometimes my homework isn't as good as it could be.
OK, focus. Can we have planners on desks, folders out, please?
Christopher is right. Cutting back on technology can produce positive results when it comes to the classroom. Here at Ebbsfleet Academy, a high school in Kent, the school has taken a strict stance on smartphones.
In my view, there is no place for mobile phones in the classroom because they are a distraction. We say to the students, you're not allowed to have a phone around the building, and if it is seen, it will be confiscated.
It's an unashamedly tough policy, but the results have been dramatic. The previous school here on this site had just 24% of its pupils leaving with 5 A-star to C grades at GCSE. Since the school was relaunched as the Ebbsfleet Academy in 2013 and the newly appointed Ms Colwell brought in a code of conduct, including the ban on phones, that pass rate has more than doubled.
Last summer we got 54% of 5 A-star to C with English and Maths, which is a 30% improvement on those of the predecessor school. We've still got a way to go, but very proud of that.
But as part of the smartphone generation, what do the pupils here make of the school's phone ban? You may be surprised.
I think it's quite a good policy because if people can whip their phone out whenever they want, then they're always going to be distracted.
If you have it during your lesson, you're then thinking, oh, who sent me that text? I wonder if someone's replied, let me look at that photo. And you're not focused on your learning at all.
If the policy wasn't there, to be honest, I don't think I'd be listening to the teacher as much. I'll be on my phone quite a lot.
Research has shown that banning phones during school time improves test scores by an average of 6%. And the principal here believes pupils are more likely to progress if they stay switched off.
We want children learning to be good communicators, we want them to be eloquent and articulate. I don't want them staring at screens and losing those vital powers and skills of communication. I don't think that's healthy.
Back in Preston, and it's not just teenage son Christopher who's struggling. A few days without her treasured smartphone is producing some unusual behaviour from mum Justine.
This morning when I got back from work, I just got, I think I'm going to break into the big bin and get my phone out.
I saw my mum trying to unwrap the tape on it, and I was like, Mum, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's alright, I saved the day.
If that camera had been there, I would have definitely broken in.
Millie may not approve of Justine's attempts to break open the tech bin, but she has noticed positives to her mum being phone-free.
When I'm talking to my mum, she won't ignore me, she won't say, oh, 1 minute. She'll actually make eye contact and talk to me and communicate.
More eye-to-eye contact and less eye-to-screen contact plays an important function for any family, believes Dr. Eric Sigman.
So many times a child will be talking to their parents and the parent will pick up a smartphone and look at it like that. It doesn't fulfill the children's emotional needs. Giving your child even a small amount of undivided attention by looking them in the eyes is the greatest gift you can give your child, and looking away from your screen can help you achieve that.
And being gadget-free for 7 days means social skills are on the up for the rest of the family too.
This week we're communicating more. It's been making me think how technology impacts our lives and how we're all focused on a screen and then we're not giving the family members our full attention.
Dad! I think people are paying more attention to what other people are having to say rather than just points that they might want to think they hear and go back to the phone. It's brilliant to bring the family together again.
The family may be appreciating time offline, but what about those who find it impossible to switch off? For some, tech habits become such an issue they need professional help.
I work at a clinic and we actually have a dedicated technology addiction service. I see all sorts of symptoms related to using and abusing technology. Typically sleep problems, you're getting into bed exhausted but they can't switch the brain off, or they start neglecting their health, so they're not exercising, they're not taking time to eat healthy, so there might be secondary problems. With more extreme cases, we see social problems where people start to withdraw from actually physically connecting with other human beings because they're on their devices.
Dr. Ramla Khan has been working with her patients now for 5 years and regularly sees how a negative relationship with technology can produce serious problems.
I see some pretty extreme cases who've ended up at my clinic. There was someone who threw himself out of the window. He was experiencing severe night terrors. I had a middle manager who sent an abusive email to a client in the middle of the night, and I had a 17-year-old who was referred to me who'd had a seizure. They come to me with some often bizarre problems, And as I get into the problems, I realise that technology's played its part.
With us each spending an average of 3 hours a day online, Dr Ramla Khan says there are several things we can do to maintain a more healthy relationship with technology.
Some very tangible things you might want to try is not having your phones around you when you're sitting and watching television in the evening, or agreeing as a family that you're going to have a technology-free weekend. I also recommend that people try the electronic sundown. 90 minutes or so before you get into bed, you start to withdraw from technology. This prepares the brain to become more sleepy.
With people seeking out treatment for technology addiction, are smartphones and the other gadgets we have in our lives really responsible for creating these problems? I've come to meet Will Dunn, the UK editor of the world's best-selling tech mag, at an exhibition celebrating the digital data we now exchange. He thinks technology is under fire for an issue of our own making.
Do some people spend too much time on their phones? Definitely. But the technology itself isn't to blame. What's needed there is for people to regulate it and for people to use it sensibly. And I think it's increasingly the public's job to make informed choices.
So Will believes it's up to all of us to regulate how we use technology, and he's keen to point out the benefits it also offers.
10 years ago, I would have been carrying around an A to Z to find out where I was going, and I wouldn't necessarily have known what time any of the trains or buses were going to get me to where I wanted to go. If I wanted to take any pictures, I would have had to have carried a separate camera. Smartphone technology has condensed so many useful things into one really small, pocketable device. I think it's fantastic.
We asked Tech UK, the organisation representing the technology industry, to comment on the points raised in this film. They said, used responsibly, tech offers many benefits. It can help improve health and fitness, learn new skills and reduce loneliness. There's even evidence that some mobile games can help ward off dementia. Screen time has been increasing for many years. The industry has worked to offer solutions to problems such as apps to reduce blue light and encourage people to monitor their usage. The challenge for us is to continue to educate people about effective yet safe use of technology. So with all the functions our phones now perform, could most of us get anything done if we decide to switch off more? The Forrests are about to find out. They're off for a family day out, but they'll be doing it the old-fashioned way.
Today we've decided to take the family on a trip out to the waxworks in Blackpool. I had to call the place where we're going to find out the address of where it is, then the prices, how much it would cost, and the opening times. It's just so weird. It's like going back years and years and years, speaking to people.
And now they've arrived, uploading pictures and checking into social media is also off limits. Instead, they'll be capturing memories with something much more old school.
The disposable camera is good, but I don't think it's good for selfies because you can't really see yourself.
Smile. One of the funniest things was Christopher using it, saying, I can't press it anymore, what do I do with it? We remember because we're old, but he doesn't know what winding a camera on is.
A rare day out without a smartphone does have its upside, though.
Everybody's just involved more and everybody's just together more somehow. Nobody's getting distracted and wandering off with the phone.
It's good when you just come out and not having to think about, oh, I need to check my phone and stuff, and just coming out and socialising a bit.
We'll have to do this once a month or something, get out and leave the tech behind and go and have a good day out.
Being switched off when they're out together is proving a hit. But Dr Eric Sigmund believes Mum Justine and Dad Chris have a big part to play in how much the family will use their gadgets in future.
Parents who spend more time on recreational screen media will have children who are far, far more likely to do exactly the same thing now and later on as well. Think about having buffer zones and areas where screens are not part of your family life. It's a question of you gaining control of the screen and making sure the screen doesn't gain control of you.
The idea of taking a break from technology is one which is finding favour elsewhere too. When Paul Gray opened his new pub in Bournemouth last year, he decided the rules of the house were that smartphones definitely weren't welcome.
I wanted to create an environment where people could go out and not see other people texting across the table. It's about people communicating with each other verbally rather than via electronic devices.
And those here couldn't be happier.
The atmosphere's great because everyone talks to each other, because no one's sat there on their phones, which means you get everyone of all different ages and all different backgrounds just having a good old chat.
It's nice just to be able to chill out, unwind. You know that if your phone does ring, you're not going to answer it anyway because it's barred in here, so it's a good excuse just to get away from it all.
It makes it much easier and nicer for people to actually come into an environment where they can actually talk to people, and you don't get all this sitting around on tables, all staring at your phones when you're out with your mates for a drink.
But will our family agree less time with their phones is also the way forward for them? After 7 days in the digital wilderness, their challenge is almost over.
OK, so you've done a week. How's it been?
Tough. I've never known a time without technology, so it's been an experience, but I want them back so much, so yeah, it's been tough.
He's so excited.
Justin, you were practically kissing your phone goodbye when you put it in this bit.
I love taking pictures on my phone and posting them, so I have missed them too, and social media.
So is there anything from your experiences this week that surprised you?
Mum has surprised me, and the ways that she interacts with us. Yeah, she's been different this week, and I hope it stays the same.
In what way has she been different?
Well, like, she's talking to us more and listening more. She's just been a different person, really. It's great.
There's a lot of lessons for a lot of mums in that, I suspect, Justine.
I'm getting a lot of this, yeah.
What impact has it had on you as a family, do you think?
We've kind of decided now we're going to go tech-free and just enjoy each other's company and enjoy whatever we're doing.
Yeah, we've set some rules, haven't we? Yeah. Like around the table at night, an evening meal, we're going to leave the phones behind and have proper meal times together.
So that's quite a shift. How do you think it's changed your relationship with technology?
I think we've all realised that there's going to be a time, generally, just to switch things off.
I think we're going to try and get the right balance there and, yeah, definitely cut down.
As the families switch their phones and tablets back on, they're instantly inundated with messages and alerts from their week offline. It looks like the new balance they're hoping to embrace with their smartphones may just have to wait for a while. There's increasing awareness amongst many of us now that smartphones and the other gadgets in our lives come with both benefits and risks. But do you know when it's time to switch off?
There's no question that all the health authorities are desperately trying to encourage us to switch off more and to spend far less time on non-essential screen time. Ultimately, it's very simple. Screen time is a form of consumption, just like salt, sugar, alcohol, or anything else. Enjoy it up to a certain point. You exceed that point and you're putting yourself at risk.
If you want to discuss the issues raised in this film, please visit our website at itv.com/tonight, where you can find a link to a live Q&A taking place now with Dr. Narina Ramlakhan.
I love what I do. I genuinely love my work.
Next week on Tonight, working mum and TV presenter Helen Skelton reports on whether it's possible for women to have it all, a fulfilling job and a family.
Next, Emmerdale continues and it's Pollard's business on the line. Dorian has good reason to look down in the dumps in half an hour in Birds of a Feather. And at 9, with money running out, the future of the viaduct is at stake in Jericho.